everyone, to a brand new double coverage with Jacquie and Kassidy. Hi, Kassidy. Nice seeing you today.
Hey, Jacquie. What's up? You're in a new spot.
I am. I'm in a TV20 studio, and we're getting ready for this new episode called The One with the Fútbol. Notice the spelling change.
Accent included.
Accent included. But we're not going to start with football. We're going to start with another sport that doesn't get a lot of chatter. Kassidy, why don't you talk about some golf swings that you got to try out this week?
Try is the operative word there. They were not pretty. But as some of you may have known, but if you don't, TopGolf, which is I call it a combination of like if somebody made bowling into golf and then turned it into a video outing with your friends. You've probably seen the buildings. They're really tall with a lot of nets, and you can hit the golf ball out, and however far you get it or where you're at, you get points and you compete against your friends. Obviously, because of COVID-19, a lot of those areas had to shut, or a lot of those entertainment venues had to shut down last year. So TopGolf sort of went on the road, and they are doing essentially is a stadium tour, and they're going to different college stadiums and letting you come and play TopGolf there. And Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville is one of the stadiums that they are going to be at, and they are there this weekend starting Thursday, and they're going through April 25th. You can sign up. We're going to put all the information in the comments, but you can sign up on FloridaGators.com, I believe, or with TopGolf when you can call the number 214-501-1320. I got to go out and do it earlier this week as sort of a little media preview. It was a lot of fun. Like I said, I wasn't good. Luckily, we had Emily.
Did your ball stay in the stadium, though?
Yes. Sometimes to a fault in that it went right down. But it would roll out of what would be the end zone. So I felt like that was a success. We were lucky enough to have Emily, the Florida Gators women's golf coach, on our team. So she really carried us. Scott Strickland, athletic director, he, I think, won. He may have rigged the scoreboard. But it was a lot of fun. It was a really cool way to see Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, to see the swamp in a new perspective, in a way you haven't ever really seen it before. And something that Scott Strickland actually said when we first got there really stuck with me. He said, we did the Garth Brooks concert here a couple of years ago. Obviously, we couldn't really do anything last spring here. We wanted to do this year to help the community feel like this is their stadium. Because, and he's right, that stadium is there. It should be used for more than 6 or 7 Saturdays a year. And so this is a way to sort of open it up for the community to use it for other things as well. And even if you're not a good golfer, trust me, because I'm not, I honestly, no lie, Jacquie, I think this is the first time I've ever hit a golf ball where it didn't have to go through a windmill and around a volcano and like over the clown's mouth. And, but it was a lot of fun. You're in the touchdown terrace and the sunshine seats. So you're in the north end zone hitting over the stadium. And we're going to show some pictures and video here as I kind of describe it. And so you can kind of see what it's like. Like I said, it's a one of a kind experience in the swamp. If you get a chance to go out there this weekend and try it out, definitely do. They are following all COVID protocols. Things are being wiped down and sanitized extensively so you can feel safe. And it's a fun outing on a beautiful weekend.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Like you, I am not a golfer, and the last time I did it was at putt-putt. So
yes, exactly.
But it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, I will say TopGolf was not the highlight of my week. As cool as it was, the highlight of my week had to be when I finally saw the trailer a couple of days ago for season 2 of Ted Lasso coming this summer. Jacquie, I know I haven't gotten you to watch it yet, but I'm getting you there. I'm getting you right there. It's a perfect show for the perfect time. It is cheesy. It is full of every sports cliche that you could possibly squeeze in a 30-minute show. It shouldn't work, and it does. You just leave every episode smiling. It's coming back this July. I'm so excited. If you haven't watched season 1 on Apple TV, get the 7-day trial. It's totally worth it. It's 10 episodes. They're half an hour each. You'll finish it in a weekend before the 7-day trial is up. And it taught me more about soccer than I ever knew before. But apparently I'm going to have to, do I need to learn more about soccer in this new league or not? I don't. Every time I look on Twitter, there's a league, and then there's not a league, and then there's a league, and then there's not a league.
That's Jacquie, a perfect transition, Kassidy.
You know football. Yeah. You tell me what I need to know about soccer besides Ted Lasso.
So everyone who's been on social media, who follows soccer, saw this big news over the course of the last few days about an alleged super league that coming together with some of the biggest clubs, including Real Madrid, Barcelona, Chelsea, 5 other English Premier League teams. Well, it was there and then it was gone. So basically, a lot of fans came out against this. So the idea was that the Super League was created so these teams would face off against each other and not in their domestic leagues. The idea was that, they were going to face competition that are kind of equal. So you would have Manchester United playing against Chelsea, which is what we have in the Premier League, but they also face Real Madrid and Barcelona. So you wouldn't have the rivalries, for example, a Chelsea or Crystal Palace or, so those type of things. You wouldn't have those London derbies as much. So fans got irate. Actually, Chelsea were one of the first ones to pull out of this agreement after a lot of fans were in front of their stadium voicing their concerns. There was actually a very big fan kind of like a war in England, especially, where they said, we want our EPL to stay together. We want these rivalries to play against each other. Now,
Dan Mullen is a Chelsea fan, right?
No, he's a Liverpool fan. We're not going to talk about that, Kassidy. Liverpool was part of it as well. Liverpool was part of it as well. Now, the issue is, so a lot of people thought this was out of the blue. Actually, it's not. It's been going on since the 60s, 70s. This has been something that's been talked about, brought to the table in several different forms. And actually, when I lived in England, it was something that was being discussed in the late 90s, early 2000s. A little tidbit, my dad works, in soccer. So I heard from behind the scenes of this being discussed in the early 2000s. This was an idea brought by the table by some of these European clubs because they were upset with UEFA. They were upset with their local leagues. At that point, Chelsea was upset with the FA and how they were handling a couple of things. This is during the Jose Mourinho tenure when he was being investigating for tapping Ashley Cole. This is when you kind of approach a player outside of the transfer window and kind of courting them to come to your team. So this was that during that time.
So in college football terms, it would be during the recruiting dead period.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So kind of if you compare it to that. So that was happening back then. Now, what happened here, it seems like, Real Madrid, Barcelona, all these clubs kind of said, we're going to create a super league because, this is the right time, but they never formed any idea. They didn't have questions about if VAR was going to be used. What is it going to look like? Is it just are they even going to play against other domestic clubs that are not part of the super league? What is going to look like? And they had no answers to that. It felt like they put this league together on a napkin and said, hey, it looks good. Why don't we just say it's right? And there you go. They announced it before some of these clubs were even finalized in this league. It was so haphazard how they announced it. And I wasn't fully against the idea when it was brought up in the late 90s, early 2000s, like hearing from my dad, hearing from what these clubs were dealing with. The problem is that they handled it poorly, PR standpoint, just in itself. They didn't allow managers and players to become involved, and they couldn't answer their questions of what fans were dealing with. But also, it doesn't really fully kind of solve the issues that we're having. So soccer, European soccer, does have issues. Right now, they're also dealing with an issue due to COVID. They lost a lot of money. If you follow soccer, these players are being paid thousands and thousands of dollars per week. Some of these players are getting paid almost $1 million when you convert the currency per week. So when you deal with
I'm in the wrong job.
Yeah. So when you deal with this, they're going to be over leveraged. Now, there's a lot of clubs that are in the red right now, including Barcelona. You wouldn't think they would be over leveraged, but they are. They are in the red right now. A lot of these big clubs saw this as an avenue to increase their profits. It would be profitable, wouldn't it? Barcelona playing Manchester United on any given Saturday or Sunday, not just in the Champions League, once in a blue moon or once in a while, depending on how the draw went. So I get that. But at the same time, you're losing out on those domestic rivalries. Liverpool was part of it. Everton wasn't. You're going to miss the Merseyside derby. So those are the type of things that these fans were really, really irate, especially in the English league, where the rivalries are so crucial. These go back, Everton and Liverpool go back to when it's Catholics versus Protestants. That's the type of deal that you're dealing with here. When I watched Celtic versus Rangers in Scotland, it really just wasn't a game. This has history when it was, Protestants versus Catholics. When it was playing at Rangers, you had people dress up as Virgin Mary in the stadium when they faced Celtics. There was a time period where Celtics did not bring in a player that was not Catholic. There's a lot of history among these teams, so a lot of deep-rooted rivalries, and that's what they were going to be missing. But it is true. European soccer is at a crossroads. They need to figure out how this game is going to adapt and change. The English Premier League is probably one of the most competitive of the leagues. You can kind of see some of these lower tier or middle ground table teams kind of combat against Chelsea or Man United, although a lot of times you're going to see 5-0 games between them. But in La Liga, it's Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. In Italy, Inter Milan, AC Milan, Juventus. It's really hard to see another team come up on top on those leagues. So that's why this was such an intriguing prospect for them, because you're going to have these big time games almost every week. So is a Super League the answer? Maybe not quite, but we do need to figure out a different approach in European leagues. They do have relegation, which I think is one of the best things to happen in the sport, because if you're not good enough, you should be demoted to another league.
Learned what that is from Ted Lasso.
Yeah, and I love the fact that if you work hard enough in the championship, I remember I remember watching a team. I was too young to cover, but I remember watching this team called Yeovil. They were in Division 3. And actually, John Terry, who used to be a center back for Chelsea, his older brother used to play there as a midfielder, and they went from Division 3 all the way to the championship in the course of 3 years, and it was fun to see their story. So it's nice to have the relegation in that. But the problem is, in order for you to get to that next level, these teams in the championship, for example, are being over leveraged. Put that with the pandemic and COVID and then losing all that finances, all those profits, then you got a problem. Again, all this comes to European soccer has to look themselves in the mirror and try to figure out all those problems.
Super League does sound fun, though. Just in theory.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like college football playoffs on a weekly basis.
Yeah, exactly, but expanded.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it did get us thinking, or it got me thinking, I know a lot of others, if there was a college football Super League, who would be in it? And I've got some opinions. I know you have some opinions, Jackie. But we also want to hear from you, the listener and viewer, what your opinions are. If college football had a Super League, let's put a number on it, Jackie. How many teams?
Let's go with what?
I'd say 8 to 12.
8 to 12? Okay, let's do 12. Let's do a dozen.
Let's do 12. Baker's dozen at 13. Somebody always gets left out. Somebody's always on a bye week that way.
Yeah.
No, we'll say 12. That's a nice even number. 12 teams, college football Super League. And don't just go in there and say every SEC team except for Vanderbilt, Missouri or something. Think about who you think, the 12 teams that you would consistently want to see play each other. Drop it in the comments, put it on Twitter, put it on our Facebook post, wherever you happen to see this. And next week the next episode, we will sort of reveal who the double coverage college football Super Leagues will be. Yep. So I didn't say any of those words right. Sorry. Who the college football Super League it would be if we were putting it together. Hello? Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought I lost you. No. It got super quiet. Okay. So from there,
go to Bates.
We'll just roll into Bates. Mm-hmm. Here, I'll take it because you did that, and then we'll come back to you for the end. Okay. I think if we were doing Super Leagues for any sort of sports, we could do it for baseball, basketball, softball, tennis, swimming. I think the Florida Gators would have to be in a lot of them because they are consistently competing for championships. A few weeks ago, in fact, Florida won their 250th SEC championship. That's a conference record. And one team that is a perennial contender is the Florida Gators swimming and diving team. They're just full of Olympians. You just can't go through a practice without bumping into an Olympian. It's ridiculous. And we got to speak to James Bates recently, and he has a vest. I know he was a Florida Gator linebacker. He does a lot of painting and artwork for the Florida Gators now as well, but he also has a vetted interest in the swimming and diving team. His wife was a swimmer for the Florida Gators when she was in college. That is when they met. He now has a daughter on the swimming team and another one on the way coming to Florida, he believes, that will also be on the team. So it was kind of cool to hear about that team and its recent run of championships from James Bates' perspective, as well as his artwork, which you've seen pop up a lot in Florida Gator promos recently, and his job as a professor at UF, going back to the school where he graduated from to teach the next wave of Gator graduates. And so enjoy the second part of our conversation with James Bates. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with Batesy's painting. And I know last year was weird with the pandemic, but are you going to be doing anything else for the swamp this coming year, like the Steve Spurrier Cup?
All right. Well, thanks for asking. Well, it has. I was a little bit worried. Gosh, with the pandemic, is anybody going to want any art? And am I going to have anything to do? Because usually after the football season's over with, as we've talked about before, Kassidy, is I just kind of go straight into painting and teaching my class. But I used to go from football to basketball to baseball and whatever other shows. But now when football season's over with, I'm done really for the most part with my TV work, and I just paint. And I wasn't sure, just like a lot of people in a lot of different jobs, what was going to happen with the pandemic. But gosh, I think it kind of falls in line with people. Hey, well, we might as well shine up our place, like Lowe's and Home Depot been really busy, and all these contractors around town. But wanting some good fun art. I think a lot of people have kind of decided, well, might as well get a piece of art for that wall. We're going to clean up our house. And so I've been almost too busy to the point where I feel bad because I can't keep up with all the commissions, and everybody that likes my stuff and wants my stuff. It makes me so happy and so proud. And so I want to do for everybody, but I just can't sometimes. And so my inbox is a mess. And anybody watching this is out there that if you have emailed me, just email me back. It's nothing against you. But yeah, so I've been doing a lot of painting, and I haven't done haven't done really any shows, any pop-up shows or anything, which usually is a lot of fun a couple times a year. So I'll do my commissions, but sometimes I get kind of commissioned out because it's everybody telling me what they want. And so I'll kind of go through a mode where I'll show them 2 for you, 2 for me. And I'll just kind of paint just, abstract landscapes or whatever. And so I've still been doing that. So I've been kind of hoarding a lot of those pieces. So I'm kind of getting ready to bust at the seams, and I need to do a pop-up show or a gallery show of some sort. But that has been a little bit kind of funky with the pandemic. But that's going to be a good thing when we start moving around again a little bit. I'll be able to have a nice show with a lot of cool merchandise and different things other than just maybe Gator football type paintings.
Jackie is in Miami. Oh, go ahead, Jackie.
I was going to ask, what got you into painting just in the first place?
I think I've always had it in me. I've always kind of enjoyed creating and drawing, and I never really took art classes. But when I was at UF, I probably should have taken art classes, Jackie, because all I did was sit in class and draw pictures. And, I still passed my classes, and I would go to all my classes and try to just soak it in, but I wasn't sitting there writing down. The teacher probably thought I was the best student in class, taking every note, but I was just drawing details. And so I've always just kind of had it in me to want to create. And an old teammate of mine, Eric Kresser, who ended up transferring to Marshall and winning I guess at the time it would have been Division II national championship at Marshall with Randy Moss up there. He was an art major, and he taught me how to build canvases and kind of got me into painting, so to speak. And I did a painting for my wife one Christmas, and I loved doing it. And about the same time, I was working on a movie down in Miami, and I went into a gallery down there, and just these big, beautiful pieces, these colors, they just blew me away. And I knew that, I had to have art like this in my house, but I could never afford art like that for my house. And so I'm like, well, I know how to build a canvas now, and so I'll just create my own art. And so that's kind of, for a long time, that's where a lot of my pieces were I just wanted to, the abstract landscapes really is kind of where it started. And I'll actually show you while we're here, but like a piece like that is right. Usually what I would do. And, but I started collecting folk art in these pieces with a lot of text and stories in them. And after a few years of just painting really abstract landscapes for the most part, I just kind of thought to myself, well, I like to storytell. I would like to storytell in some of these pieces and with some text. And so some of these kind of like the natural fit was like paintings of Coach Spurrier and some of these head ball coach stories, some of these one-liners that Coach always gives you, incorporated into painting. So that's kind of where it started, to where I transitioned, not completely because I still do the landscapes, but into a little bit more of the folk art pieces. And I think in that case, it's kind of good that I didn't have formal training, because I would probably feel extra guilty, like, oh, I'm just switching styles every other month. I'm just, well, now I'm gonna work on like that is made out of tin and, from our old barn roof and stuff. And it's totally different from my landscapes or from my folk art.
Jacquie was a Miami grad. You should send her a snapshot of your Mark Rick one.
Oh yeah. And I actually started a Manny Diaz one because I like Manny Diaz a lot. And I was just I just love again, it's like, it's those stories, and those are the same stories that I like to incorporate and that inspire me with art when it comes to, people like Nick Saban or like Steve Spurrier or Manny Diaz or Tim Tebow or whatever. I just like a lot of times, sometimes kooky type stories, but just interesting human interest stories. And those are the stories that drove me from being a former player in my TV work, from sitting in the analyst chair to the play-by-play chair or host chair, because I felt like I could tell some of those stories that I would rather research more into Manny Diaz, his dad being the mayor, and growing up in Miami and being a Hurricane. I mean, that's fascinating. That to me is more fascinating and is cooler than why they gained 5 yards right here and what coverage the defense was in, so I started doing a Manny Diaz piece, but it actually changed because that first year, it wasn't a great year. And I'm like, well, I'm going to hold off on Manny Diaz. So I changed it to a Fife Dog piece. Fife Dog from A Tribe Called Quest. Because I had only half done it as a wood cutout. And he's standing like this, and they're kind of like both shorter guys. And so it's now a Tribe Called Quest piece with Fife Dog, the 5-footer.
Same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So how many times does your sideline work or your like hosting work kind of goes to your painting? Then I guess there's a lot of times where you kind of have both of them kind of come together. No,
absolutely. Like in research, I'll find things that, that's interesting. And a lot of people don't know that. And that would look good on a canvas. Or, I've had producers that try to take advantage of my, I don't know whether to call it artistic ability or just an urge to create. And they would say, hey, can you sketch up something? And we would have a segment called B8sy Paints for a while. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it would be an interesting story that a coach would tell us, and I would animate it. And at some point we would go, hey, you're going to go to B8sy Paints now, and this is the story. And we would either just animate it and sometimes have the coach voicing it, but sometimes just kind of talking it through. And what actually, to tie it back into Miami, what actually made me want to start doing that was Mark Rick, every year when he was at Georgia during two-a-days, he would take the team swimming and he would go up on the platform, the high platform, and he would do a backflip off. And it was like, as you can imagine, the team's so fired up and everything. And that was always so cool to me. And so when the first time I ever met Mark Rick was when he was at Miami, and we were meeting with him before a game. And I said, before we even get going with any football talk, this is on our Friday coaches meetings for the production meetings. I said, where did the backflip start? Were you a diver when you were younger? And he told this great story about down in, I want to say like Jupiter type area, but I don't feel, or Boca. Is he from Boca, do you think? I think he's from Boca. And there's I guess a bridge down in Boca where he and his buddies would go, and they would wait for the bridge to go up, and they would like try to impress these girls by jumping off the bridge when it stopped, I guess, and the bridge was like then coming back down, and all these cars were stopped, and they had to sit and watch, and they would jump off the bridge. But he was with all the jocks, and then you had all these surfers, and this is Mark Rick telling the story. You had all these surfers that would jump off too, and they kind of like, you know, they butted heads. Oh, those are the jocks, those are the surfers. But there was this one surfer, and I forget the guy's name, but he, you know, remembers it clear as day. And he said, you know, he used to always do the backflip. He goes, so I swallowed my pride, and I went and I asked him to teach me how to do the backflip. And so he did. So he learned it from his, you know, from his rivals, if you will. And so and I was like, oh man, I want to animate that. And so just stuff like that. It's just, that to me is the lighter side of coaching, and the lighter side of sports is always really cool to me, because, you know, people take these players and coaches so seriously, and sometimes these coaches take themselves pretty seriously in players. And so it's kind of nice to remind people that they are human. After all.
And I know we talked a lot about your memories at UF and head Paul coach, but as a dad, it must be proud that your daughter now at the University of Florida is kind of starting to tell her stories, and how proud of you are for the swim team and just, you know, just starting her career as a Gator.
Oh man, thanks hey, you guys give me 5 seconds, because this is where Talia and her teammates are going to live, this place that we renovated. 5 seconds, I'm going to show you something real quick. And time. Did I make it? I was just over 5 seconds, right?
Just really long 5 seconds, but yeah.
Look at that.
So that's Talia's her 200 free at NCAAs this year. She came in second in the 2 free, and she swam the second fastest time in UF history. And so that's pretty cool. I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of everything that she's done. And then our youngest daughter is a senior in high school right now, Buchholz High School in Gainesville. And she signed on to swim at Florida as well. So we'll have 2 Gators there in the pool. And my wife, she was a swimmer when she was there. And both of them are just like, they bury Tina's times, you know, and that's kind of the way swimming has gone. But it's convenient to kind of leave that out and to just kind of like poke at Tina and say, oh, well, it's probably the linebacker in the family and the explosiveness that they got that's made them that much faster. But it's awesome. And I'm just so proud. I'm so proud of everything that they've done and that our son has done. I'm proud to be a dad. And I just love being a dad. And I love, you know, trying to be a good one and being a good husband. But I also love being a Florida Gator, and the fact that our 2 daughters are Gators, and that the University of Florida is just, it's amazing what those student athletes have. And we thought when Talia was being recruited as a junior in high school, we kind of thought we had a feel for, oh, well, Tim Ite's still there. He was my academic advisor, so I kind of know what's everything that's going on around, but I'd never been in the Hawkins Center. And we took a tour over there on an unofficial visit, and we were blown away. And just, I mean, it's amazing. It would be tough for Talia or Georgia to have even really considered anywhere else. Even if, you know, if I had played football at Texas and Tina had swam there as well. But yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I just so proud, and I hope for them, and I hope for, like I know pretty well, like a lot of the swimmers on the team. And so like a lot of the freshman class from this year, Talia's a sophomore right now, but like the freshman class, been around a lot of their teammates there, they're kind of sandwiched around that. And I just feel so bad for them and for all the freshmen at UF and all these campuses across the country of what their freshman year was like, because they really have no idea. Like, you know, there's a one of their teammates, for instance, is from Philadelphia, and she's never been to a Gator game, but she's going into her sophomore year at UF. And she, like, you guys know, like, she has no idea what it's all about in the fall. This place is magical in the fall, especially when we're playing good football. And I can't wait for them and for, you know, even the regular students to just the Gators to just kind of see what that's all about. And I hope that things are back to normal and it's just rocking. I can't wait till the fall. I hope we're doing all right and ready to go by then. Everybody healthy.
So your daughters followed your wife's footsteps and became swimmers. Do any of them follow your footsteps when it comes to painting or wanting to write or tell stories?
Wow, that's a good question. They all, I think all of our kids, they had it good in a sense that we always were doing craft projects together. And so that part of their brain was definitely explored and stimulated. But they also probably got spoiled because anytime they would come home from school and like, yeah, I got to do this big project. And I'm like, what? Like if they were coming home wanting me to help them with their algebra or something, I would go hide. But if it's like, oh, I got to do this science fair project, I'm like, oh, can I paint the background and can I do this? And I just love, because it's so easy for me. And I know how, as a kid, sometimes that can be kind of like taxing. And so I like to help them with stuff like that. None of them have gone crazy with it. Talia she's a building construction major, but like she kind of enjoys the design side of things. So that a little bit, I think is because of, is her desire to create. And our son, he's a fishing captain. He fishes over in Jacksonville and goes to UNF. So we'll see. Because I just dabbled a little bit until I got older. So we'll see in a few years maybe.
So what you're saying is when my son starts, being kindergarten and first grade, I need to call you to help with crafting.
Yes, yeah. Or just like kind of the one advice I would give in that category is try to see what do you have, what scraps on the side of the road. Like there's always a big board on the side of the road, and there's always rather than going and buying the whole poster board or the big it's like I like to kind of try to just make it happen with stuff that's just reclaimed and lying around the house and stuff like that, because a lot of times you feel the need to go rushing off to the store and buy all these supplies, but it can be done with just old house paint on some board or something like that. So yeah.
Oh yeah, my son and I have done a lot of science experiments in crafting. So he's big on the shaving cream and using food coloring to make it rain. So that's been our favorite thing. We use a lot of we drink a lot of milk in this house. I have 2 kids, so they go through milk, probably 1 gallon of milk a week. So we use a lot of milk gallons and we put eyes on it or whatever they want to do with it. So definitely am about reusing things around the house.
Yeah, fun. Very fun.
But I have I'm not really artsy. So that's, I try to create things. I think my son called my person a dog when I was trying to draw it. So it wasn't great.
Well, I think I think it's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like cooking. People say, oh, I can't cook. Well, with YouTube, I think anybody that doesn't mind taking the time to watch a YouTube video, you can cook something. Mm-hmm. And anybody that would take the time to watch a YouTube video to how to make this craft happen or how to draw a dog person, you can find it. It's one click away, right. Anything. And that's
just call it abstract.
Yeah, exactly.
Batesy, I know you're busy. We won't keep you too long. But something I did want to try, and I thought about this just a minute ago, so I'm about to spring this on Jackie. Jackie and I both went to journalism school. We were journalism majors, but from what I can tell, there are few journalism classes like the one taught by James Bates. I know you have a competition you put your students through. What is that? And let's see if I can beat Jackie.
Oh, I like that.
Oh dear. Okay. Oh dear. What is this competition?
Well, with TV work or acting, a lot of times, in acting classes, you'll get, just like warming up for a football game or a basketball game. It's kind of tough to go, from cold, not talking to being on and hi. And so it's good to kind of warm up your vocal cords or to, warm up your mouth, your tongue, by talking and by hitting, and so stretching out your mouth. And so a phrase that a lot of I guess acting coaches will do is red leather, yellow leather. I guess it kind of, because you hit so many different red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, or unique New York. And so I'm a big old rap fan, so I don't need any of that garbage. I can just go with like Shine Head, like don't give me number one, don't give me number one, I'll crack, or Dots of Facts. I'm niggity only dude. It shook my biggity banks and chumps because I pumps when I cook them. So that's how if I'm going to a game, and I'm not kidding, like I'm not in a car with someone where I have to talk, I'm listening to like my old like classic rap, and I'm like spitting Big Daddy Kane, and that's how I get loose. But for everybody else, there's red leather, yellow leather. And so my first semester, I was telling them about it, and everybody was kind of trying the red leather, yellow leather. And then I was like, wait a minute, next week, we're going to build a bracket, and we're going to have a red leather, yellow leather championship. And whoever can say red leather, yellow leather, clearly, correctly, the most times in 30 seconds, we'll move on and can win the championship. And so it's tough because you can go real slow and still advance, like red leather, yellow leather, red, because
clear.
There are people that will swallow a word and they'll be out after two. So you never know. But at the same time, if you hit someone that's going to try a little bit and they're going to get through it, they're going to beat you. And so we've done it now, I think, 7 or 8 different semesters, and we put it on my Instagram live, and we're actually doing that tomorrow. Which is so it's going to be on my Instagram live, and I bring in former students to kind of host it. And so tomorrow they'll be, hi everybody, and welcome to the red leather, yellow leather championship. In this case, it'll be Maddie Schmidt, and Maddie Schmidt's doing it with a guy that it's tough for me not to call him Prince because he looks just like Prince, but his name is Sky LeBron. So he's the student formerly known as Prince. And so they get to announce it. And so they get their reps in of announcing it. And Sammy Green is the sideline reporter. And then so we'll go through it. And it's like a live competition that they're watching and they're televising and broadcasting. And it's, just all these reps. It's so cool that they get all these reps. So that said, and I'll kind of one more time, just so you, because I rambled a lot with what it is. I think Kassidy needs to go first, though, Jackie, because she brought it up and she put it on you. So it'll give you one more chance to think about it, and it'll also put some pressure on her. But what we're gonna do now, you guys can't cheat because I can't do too many things at once. So I'm gonna watch the clock. Okay, so you guys have to count for the other one. So Kassidy, you're gonna count for Jackie, and Jackie, you're gonna count for Kassidy.
Okay, and I'm gonna grab my phone charger real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. So I'm gonna set this for
leather, yellow leather, red.
I'm gonna set this for 20 seconds. Is all you guys have to do it.
Okay.
20 seconds. And so in that 20 seconds, so you count for me and see how many times. This will be my practice for tomorrow. Okay. So each time I hit yellow leather, then that's one. Okay.
Okay.
Red leather, yellow leather, 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 and that's it. So
21.
Okay, so 21 in that 20 seconds. And so Kassidy's back, and if you beat 21, Kassidy, I'm gonna send you like all kinds of like prints and shirts and everything. Go too fast because then Jackie will beat you. So I'm gonna time, and you start when you start. I'm gonna start my clock. So it's on first sound, like out at football practice. First sound, ready? Okay. On you.
Red leather, yellow leather, 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 red leather. I missed it.
Okay. How many did she get?
15.
15.
Oh, good.
Okay. Now, Jackie,
Okay.
are you okay with her saying every time yellow letter? Is that are you
Whoops.
gonna be a stickler on that? We'll see. We'll see
We'll
if you
see,
beat
we'll
Christine,
see.
and then we'll have that discussion. So
Okay,
that
so
was
what am
pretty
I
good.
counting it on for Jackie? On red? Is that what you said?
Well, each time she goes through it, red leather, yellow leather, that's 1. Red leather, yellow leather, that's 2. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Okay. All right, Jackie, on you. First sound. Ready?
If
Break.
she says
Red
yellow
leather-
leather. Oh, sorry. Correct. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm stopping.
Okay, shall we start again?
Yeah.
Oh, you are. Oh, she already. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's her strategy.
She was trying to, I was in
Cassidy-
mode.
When Kassidy went to get her charger, she sent me a text and she said, "Hey, I've got a strategy. When she first starts, I'm just going to be talking and mess her up."
I've already
Yellow
messed
flag.
with her mind.
All right,
Okay, I'm ready.
On you.
Sorry, I didn't hear it.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's 0. You get 0.
Oh
You get
man,
0.
I didn't hear it. I heard Cassidy.
It's not pronounced. I didn't hear it. It's pronounced red leather, yellow leather.
Oh, I didn't hear. I heard
Okay.
Cassidy still.
No. Okay. It's on you. Whenever you're ready, you start.
Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather. Oh.
Ah!
Yeah.
I think none of hers count because it's letter and it's not leather.
Yeah, that's convenient. Yeah.
Convenient. Convenient.
Hey, English is not my first language, so I can't
That's
say
true.
the TH.
That is true. Oh gosh. Okay. I'm crying. That's funny.
Had
James.
that in the back pocket.
James, really though, thank you so much. I know you have hours and hours worth of stories, but it was really cool just to hear. I heard some today I've never heard before. I don't know how long it's going to take for Jackie to forgive me for springing that competition on her. But if it makes her feel any better, neither one of us did good. So I did just as bad.
I feel like we're going to have a rematch once we come back from our brief hiatus, Cassidy.
Yes.
I think we're going to be both be practicing. And I feel like the first thing we got to do red leather, yellow leather one more time.
Good job. You did it.
I did.
We'll have to practice. Like Jackie said, we are going to take a brief hiatus and I'll let her explain why here.
Yeah, we're not going to have a podcast for the next 2 weeks. If you guys remember, about a month ago, Cassidy was amazing and she hosted a podcast by herself when we had Kevin Camps on our podcast. I had to take that evening off because my son ended up needing to go to ER and he was hospitalized for 2 days. We found out that he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So the last few weeks we've been, just overwhelmed, and we've been dealing with what this new life is going to mean for us, which means there's going to be a lot of changes coming to our household. So we're going to take the next 2 weeks to kind of move forward with that and trying to see our next steps and just move forward with that. So we'll be back in about middle of May. We'll have episodes coming up. And we'll be updating you on what the situation is as far as myself and my family, but I will still be part of this podcast and we'll still have new episodes coming up, but we're just taking a little bit of time so I can focus on family for right now.
We're not letting you get away that easily, Jackie. You're always going to be a part of this. Yes. And, but we do know it's a interesting time figuring out that new normal. So take all the time you need. And we can't wait to see you again in a couple of weeks and everyone else here as well. Don't forget to vote on who you think should be the 12 leagues in the College Football Super League. And we will reveal those on our next episode. A lot of exciting things still ahead. Of course, it's going to look a little different after the next couple of weeks, but a lot of exciting things still ahead for double coverage with Jackie and Kassidy.
Yeah, and don't forget to make sure you click on that bell on a YouTube page and subscribe to our YouTube page so you get notified in your email and on your desktop when new episodes are there. And obviously follow us on Anchor and Spotify and Google Podcasts.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.